What's up, and welcome back to another live stream with Gizmo Slip Tech. Today we're benchmarking the Legion 9i, and this is going to be probably a multi-part live stream because I'm expanding quite a bit in terms of the number of games I'm testing, with the goal of testing all of the top 10 most popular Steam games according to Steam charts. So I've added and bought several games. Including Arc Raiders, which won Multiplayer Game of the Year at the Game Awards, Battlefield 6, and we've also got a lot of legacy titles that I've tested in previous years, such as PUBG, Red Dead Redemption 2, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I don't think I'm going to test Jedi Survivor. I'm not sure, maybe. Okay. And then Where the Winds Meet is also a new one. Delta Force is another new one, and so yeah, new ones will be Arc Raiders, Battlefield 6, Delta Force, and it's going to be a return to a lot of the older titles that I've been benchmarking, such as Dead Space, Dying Light 2, gonna do Dota 2 because it's one of the top 10 most popular games. It's like the second most popular game according to Steam charts, and I'm just trying to like make sure that I'm getting testing the games that the most players really want me to be testing. So that's kind of the idea of this. And then, so basically trying to do like the top 10 most popular games plus games that I view as amazing, like Expedition 33. I'll probably be benchmarking that for 5, 6, 7 years, and it'll be a great game to test for a long term. Baldur's Gate 3, don't plan on dropping that one anytime soon. Black Myth Wukong is very good. God of War and God of War Ragnarok. It kind of feels like I'm doubling up there, but they actually play and benchmark very differently. Hogwarts Legacy, another very, very good game. So basically games that are Game of the Year contenders that are very demanding AAA games, plus the top 10 most popular games currently on the Steam charts. At least that's my plan, or whatever, going forward. And so today's live stream is likely going to be a multi-part live stream. I don't think we'll be able to test everything today. And part of that is that we're going to need to figure out new benchmarking methodologies for a lot of these games that I have frankly never played before. So we're going to figure this out together. And so as I learn the game, so today might not even be the full benchmark for some of these games. I might need to revisit these in a future live stream. And yeah, so there's going to be like a whole bunch of different games today. And yeah, the cool thing about today's video is that this is the Legion 9i. And let me pull up the specs on this. So the Legion 9i is the flagship, in theory, the very, very best gaming laptop that money can buy from Lenovo this year. And this is like the very, very best, aside from maybe the 9955 HX3D not being available on this unit, and also the fact that the RAM is a slightly lower speed. Those two things are maybe the only things that the Legion Pro 7i, or the Legion Pro 7, depending on which one you're getting here, is in theory better. Now, one very cool thing about this laptop is it does come with the 3D display, and I do have that enabled, or I do have that on this laptop, this unit that we're testing today, this one right here. Now, the 3D display, I did a deep dive detailed analysis of that already on the channel. And so if you're interested in learning more about the 3D display, then let me, I don't know, let's see, is this the right one? Yeah, so just pop on over to my recent videos and check out, I don't know, there it is, Legion 9i 3D display. Was put out 9 days ago. So if you're interested in the 3D display aspect of it, that's where you should go and watch that video. But overall, I would say that it's a very enjoyable 3D experience for certain games and very gimmicky and not good for other games. And I look forward to seeing how it develops into the future as long as Lenovo keeps improving the implementation. I think the 3D display will be continue to be improved. There's still a lot of room for improvement, but games like God of War Ragnarok and Shadow of the Tomb Raider were excellent 3D implementations overall. Still some buggy menus, still some ghosting on some text that was annoying, but the actual gameplay is really, really sick in 3D. and I really enjoyed it. Now, the other games like Dark Souls 3, it was terrible. So it really depends on which game you play, and there's not that many games supported. So I wouldn't necessarily be like, yeah, you should definitely only go for the Legion 99 because it has a 3D display. Like when more games are supported, especially higher quality implementations of some of these games, like I would love to play Elite Dangerous with a 3D display. It would be so freaking amazing with the 3D display, but it sadly is not supported. So, but Cyberpunk 2077 was also another good game. Just as many AAA titles as possible being implemented with good enough performance, then the 3D display becomes more and more worth it. So I think Lenovo said that they are working with developers to expand the game list. They did not give me any specific timeline on that, though. So now I believe if we were to configure this to be exactly how we're benchmarking it today, let's see how much this sucker costs buying it just as we have it here today. So we have 64 gigs of RAM in the unit here with 2 terabyte Gen 5 and a 5090, and the 3D display appears to be sold out. But if you were to add the 3D display, it would be, I think, another $240 more. So around $4,500 currently for the unit that we have configured here today. Let's see here. I just thought of another benchmark we need to do. We need to do the SSD CrystalDiskMark as well. Okay, so let's get some of these synthetic tests out of the way first. So first up is going to be 3D Mark. Love the 9i for the way it gets up to 440 hertz 1080p. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's a really cool idea, though I don't think very many people are going to switch it off of the 240 hertz mode, because you basically have to be an esports aficionado to be interested in that mode. Though there will be people like that without a doubt. So, all right, so we're going to be doing Time Spy. And we also need to make sure that we are in the correct testing mode. So we're going to go to Custom and Maximum Fans with, we're just going to click the Extreme Mode preset, which should set everything up. We can't do that. All right, all sliders max, full speed. That'll be our custom mode for now. Cool. And we have GPU and CPU OC just toggled on for maximum out-of-the-box performance with just all the basic settings. All right. Let's see what we get with Time Spy. Oh, we gotta get Afterburner open. I'm not sure if that's open. And let's turn this up. So today, the goal for the live stream is just to have a chill benchmarking stream and something for people to refer back to. And I'm gonna compile all of this data into graphs and then put together a detailed comparison charts and everything for the final review. I don't know why NVIDIA GPU activity is popping up. Why is this window coming up? I have no idea. I don't think this is going to be considered a valid run because of what's going on here. Let me just try to end the run. So today I did double check to make sure that we're on the latest updates from Lenovo and Windows updates and the latest NVIDIA drivers. And yet TimeSpy is not, it's not liking us right now. And I cannot see my mouse for some reason. Love that. It is letting me. All right, well this is pretty crappy experience right now. Let's just go for a restart. Good idea to do a restart. I haven't restarted the machine in at least a week, so before we do all these benchmarks, just give it a clean slate. Wow, you can really see the reflective nature, the glossy screen right there. It is super glossy. Parky says, it'll be interesting to see how this performs compared to the Legion Pro 7. I have this laptop with the Ryzen HX 3D chip, which is better than this Intel CPU, but also this laptop seems on a more powerful level. And we'll see, right? We will see. The 9955 HX 3D should, for sure, outperform in CPU-bound games. So, Windows Hello, I've noticed, has worked exceptionally well with this computer. It's basically been flawless. So we're going to see how many games and everything, games and tests we can get through in the first, like in 2 hours, and then we'll probably need to make a part 2 of this because I don't know. We're trying to do so many different games and tests that I don't think we'll be able to get it done in just 2 hours. And I'm trying to keep the live streams, like I don't want to get burnt out doing too long of the live streams, you know, like they can just get very, very long sometimes, and they've been getting longer and longer, so I'm trying to just tame them down, you know. And if I could live stream for 2 hours several days a week, I think that would be better than live streaming like once a week for 6 hours, for example. So that's my current plan right now. Dividing up the different live streams. Like there might be like 3 parts to this Legion 9i. Live streaming, and then edit all that down into one solid video that can be put up to the channel. So, all right. TimeSpy, let's go to MSI. Got Afterburner up. We'll just tell this to start with Windows in case we need to reboot again. I don't know where the start with Windows button is on. All right, whatever. Well, we should be good. Let's see here. We should be getting like a overlay to pop up on our TimeSpy window here. The fact that we're not is a little worrying. I don't know. All right, let's see. Let's see if we can get this sucker to run after the reboot. All right, Doodle wants to know, will laptop prices increase threefold due to RAM prices? I do think RAM prices will affect laptop prices. I think that will be a thing. I think that it's not going to be as bad as desktops because laptop RAM modules use a different size. So like all the servers and everything, the data centers, they're not buying up the laptop RAM. But the thing is, the same data modules go on to all the RAM chips, I believe. So there still will be a shortage for laptop RAM. So far, it has not impacted laptop prices yet, but I believe both Lenovo and Dell, I'm not sure, I know for Lenovo did for sure, but a couple of different companies did announce they're going to be increasing the prices of laptops in January. But that pretty much always happens for all the new models anyway, and then they slowly get cheaper until Black Friday hits, and that's when they get the cheapest for the whole year. So I would expect a bump in price in January, and it may go up for a while. Now, I was talking to another laptop vendor that was trying to, they sell laptops, and they basically said it was impossible for them to get access to RAM modules right now. Every single RAM module they wanted to be able to buy to make into their 2026 laptops is sold out, and so they just literally could not, they're not going to be able to make the laptops now. They just literally can't. They can't launch the product. So big companies like Lenovo, Asus, they'll already have bought the RAM modules probably for like 2 years out. They already have stable relationships, but it's the small guys that are going to get screwed over first, and then the big guys will get impacted later. Weird. Look at our GPU only doing 110 watts for some reason. That's not good. We were doing closer to 160 something watts earlier. Yikes. So let me try, this is obviously going to be an invalid test. Let me try just switching it over to turbo mode right here. Turbo mode, we're rocking it. Back to 170 watts. Apparently turbo mode maybe is how we're going to have to benchmark this. A custom extreme mode, not good. I don't know. We can't do custom fans though with the turbo mode. So it's going to impact temperatures. 122 watts, only 75 degrees at 122 watts. Very nice. Okay, so this got 23,935, but it definitely is not a valid run. We're gonna have to rerun this in turbo mode. That was super weird that the wattage got messed up in the middle of that test. CPU OC and Legion Space is because Legion 9i have, or because update of apt. I don't have that in my Legion Pro 7i. Interesting. I don't know. He's talking about this, and I'm not sure. It's a good question. I don't remember the CPU OC button being there in... Okay, why isn't it full screen? I mean, we're having all kinds of problems here. Let's try rerunning this again. I think it's because I alt-tabbed to Legion Space right as it was loading up, and then it didn't go full screen. I want to make sure it's full screen just to ensure that the performance and everything should be no problem. Okay, let's see what this CPU OC says. I'm trying to hover over it. CPU OC enhances software operations by boosting computing performance. OC can impact your device's performance and stability. Proceed with caution. All right, we'll try one more time spy run. Like, that's the other thing. Like, I want the live streams to not be so rushed. Like, we're chilling. You know, like we're chilling, we're trying to make sure we get good benchmarking results before we move on. So that's part of the reason that I'm trying to not pressure myself to get all of the benchmarks done in one 4, 5, 6 hour live stream. You know, if you guys are okay with multiple VODs, clicking between them, which I know is a hassle and sometimes kills momentum on YouTube videos, I'd rather have better quality than, I'd rather have better quality results and a more chill vibe with the live streams than trying to rush through things and make it, efficiently as possible in one video. You know, like sometimes it's just not possible. Okay, so our clock speed at 2200 is very good for an RTX 5090. We're reporting 170 watts, 65 watts to the CPU. Temperatures are fantastic, especially considering the fan noise is not that loud right now. We're not at maximum fans, and the temperatures are still below 80 on both the CPU and GPU, especially the GPU temperature is very, very good. Okay, it's me, ProDay says, solve me a mystery, please. If the Legion 9i has a fingerprint reader in silent performance mode in BIOS as Pro 7i has. I don't think the Legion 9i has a fingerprint reader, not that I've seen, not that I'm aware. Okay, so now we're doing 175 watts here at 2300 clock speed on the GPU. That's extremely high. You know, 5090s oftentimes are around 2000 to 2100. So going to 2300 is very good. Now see, we're only 2150 there, you know, so. So yeah, as far as I know, the Legion 9i does not have a fingerprint reader. Huge difference in performance between the Legion 7i 5090 and the Legion 9i 5090. The GPU performance likely will be identical or basically identical, assuming that they're both either shunt modded the same or not shunt modded at all. I don't know. It's the main thing, the main spec difference between the Pro 7i and the Legion 9i is the fact that you have 4 SODIMM slots for the Legion 9i, which reduces the RAM speed by a little bit. The mega transfers go from 6400, I believe, to 5200. That doesn't actually necessarily impact RAM performance too much for the majority of games, though. I don't think it's going to impact much performance. The main nice thing about the Legion 9i is that it can go all the way up to 100 and I think 92 gigs of RAM, which is like a crazy amount of RAM. So if you're trying to run AI workloads, the Legion 9i is going to be one of the very best in terms of trying to load a huge AI model. Okay, so there is a proper score, 26,196, 16,666. Oh, it's the mark of the devil. Oh gosh. Okay, I'm just kidding. But 26,196 is exceptionally good. Like that is like better than all the other 5090s. The 5090s typically score closer to 25,000. And looks like 3D Mark crashed right after we got our result, but we got a good result, an extremely good result. 26,196 is just like, that's phenomenal. So yeah, I would say that the Legion 9i is likely, you know, using more than 175 watts, because the other laptops that I've tested that do 175 watts only do about 24,500. So we're getting about 1,500 points extra out of them. So this matches the Pro 7i time spy scores that I've seen. So yeah, the Legion 9i should also have exceptionally good overall performance. Let's run Steel Nomad next. It's me, ProDay. There's a small donation for all your effort here. I totally admire your level of professionalism you have. Thank you so much. I appreciate the donation. Yes. Okay. And the compliment. Okay. I don't think RAM speeds affect performance of the Legion 9i as demonstrated by Jared's video. Yeah, it's probably mainly gonna only affect things like if I were to guess, I would say it's probably only going to really affect things like the AI workloads or maybe server-centric things. Like if you're trying to run a bunch of different VMs with lots of different, different allocations of RAM for each VM, stuff like that, maybe the RAM speed is going to be more impacted. Like running AI models at 192 gigs, you know, people care more about the size of that RAM. Getting up to 192 gigs means they can load a bigger, smarter AI module or model into the memory. Like if you only have 32 gigs of RAM, you can only load an AI module or a model that's only up to 32 gigs. You know, if you have 192, you can put a much bigger, smarter model into the laptop's local memory. So that's why 192 gigs of VRAM, regular RAM, is considered very valuable right now. They're trying to run huge AI models, and the bigger, the better in their mind, you know? So 6,465 or 64.66 FPS on average. That's another excellent, above average Steel Nomad score. Average being closer to a little over 6,000. So we're another 7-8% higher than I would say the average for a 5090. And let's just double check what's next. AIDA64 RAM speed, let's do it again. And we can kind of do some analysis on it. I have done AIDA64 RAM speed already tests, but I want to do as many tests live for you guys as possible during these benchmarking live streams. So, so here's the test I did initially. 78,000, 75, and 76 with 118 nanoseconds latency. You have your L0 to L3 cache, which I don't think matters as much as the memory read, write, and copy for gaming. I think the read, write, and copy for gaming is probably the most important thing. But I gotta imagine these caches do impact that performance as well. So you can see we have dual channel and trying to see total size. Do we have total size in here? $64 gigs of physical memory is installed. So you can see it's a 24-core Intel Ultra 9275HX, and the memory is running at 2600, but you double this to get the official memory speed. So DDR5 5200 with timings of 42, 42, 42, 83 CR2, which is not very tight timings. Those are some pretty big timings. And you can see the end results for the read, write, and copy being not that good. You know, this is pretty mediocre overall on RAM speed. Let's see here. So we can pull up. We should have. Should have RAM speed in here somewhere. Yeah, so average speed, this would put us at basically the slowest RAM. This would put us at slowest RAM here below the SCAR 18, just above the Strix G16. Yeah, this is a little bit out of order, but it'd be the second slowest RAM that we've tested so far this year. Let's go ahead and do this test again and see what we get. So, not updated, it's fine. Go ahead and run this benchmark. Do, 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 do. Okay. Melissa Goat says, saw the video on the laptop 5090 versus desktop 5080 on the same settings, and the laptop 5090 is just 8 to 10 frames slower than the 5080. Can we say that the laptop 5090 is on par with the 5080? I mean, based on what you just said, it's not on par. We're slower than the 5080. But it's not too far off. We're probably closer to the 5070 Ti. I think that's actually what we're on par with, is a 5070 Ti, I think. but I'd have to double check that CUDA core matches, what the CUDA core matches up. But the 5070 Ti desktop chip, I think, has the same CUDA core count but a higher power limit, and so therefore it runs a little bit faster. AJSY says, it is very likely that all laptop prices will have an increase next year with the RAM-mageddon. Yes, I do think that most likely a lot of the laptop prices will be increased, but the thing is, like, the more budgety laptop prices may not be as affected, at least in the short term, because laptop RAM modules are different than desktop RAM modules, and the desktop RAM modules are going into the AI data centers. And basically, I think there's a lot of existing stock of laptops that are being sold right now. Like a lot of laptops didn't sell this year yet. So once they move all those units and they're starting to build and sell only the new units, that's when the RAM pricing is going to really start affecting laptop prices. So I would say probably Q1, Q2 next year, we're going to see that laptop prices will be 10 to 40% increased. Okay, so our actual test that we just did live, 79,000, 76,000, 78,000 with a latency of 113, and everything else is still the same here. So yeah, it's below average speed RAM for sure, but it's still going to functionally work for you. We'll see how we do in our actual CPU-bound games, right? That's going to be a big part of the test today, is what is real-world performance like? And I think that probably matters more, probably. I cannot seem to find. There it is. Okay, CrystalDiskMark is going to be our next test. And here we go. We're 85% full, so we're not maxed on this drive yet. I have not ran this test yet, so I don't know how fast this drive is, but I think it's a Gen 5. Yes, we're looking at a Gen 5 2 terabyte in this laptop. Doodle says, I hope that in 2026, for the first time, I will see a laptop with a TGP above 175 watts. I hope so too, Doodle, though we have seen laptops above 175 watts in the past. I've owned one, the Alienware Area 51M that came with an RTX 2080 desktop chip ran at 200 watts. And then it was later downgraded to 190 watts because they fried some of them, which was not the problem was not running it at 200 watts. It was just that it was not engineered and designed properly. And that's probably why NVIDIA doesn't want to go up to above 175 watts again, because they're just afraid that their partners aren't going to do a good enough job. So yeah, that's like, you know, sometimes people fail and they mess up, but that doesn't mean that you should never try again, in my opinion. Like, yeah. Why does this laptop only have 5200 megahertz RAM? It's because we have 4 SODIMM slots on the inside. The 4 SODIMM slots means that it is like quad channel, I believe. So it makes it so that they have to reduce the speed of the RAM. The actual RAM modules in there might be 6400, but they have to be ran at a lower speed to be compatible with the motherboard's extra additional capacity, basically. Okay, so our SSD speeds are ridiculously fast at 12,371 and 13,328. Wow. So these are the main numbers that I look at when I'm looking at these transfer speeds, but dang. Hold on, let me check. Okay. All right, so we have a new graph. All right. Here is our Steel Nomad score. Got my assistant actually making the graph as I'm doing the live stream now. I'm trying to make these live streams better and better for you all. I hope you can appreciate it. So here is the Steel Nomad score. We're looking at the Legion 9i being 243 points faster than the Neo 16 with the 9955 HX3D. So yeah, that's a pretty nice lead, and it's the fastest laptop that I've ever tested. Very good. All right. I don't know if we have Time Spy. We do have a Time Spy score already graph made as well. Time Spy Legion 9i at 26,196, which is way ahead of the other 5090 laptop with 23,626, though this is a pretty low score. I think this would score higher now. I don't know. A 5080 almost beating it here with the Pro 7i 5080 that we tested in the past. So again, I think the Legion Pro 7i and Legion 9i are using additional wattage on their GPU by like maybe 15 or 25 watts. So yeah, fantastic performance in Time Spy. And we also have our memory speed graph done as well. Legion 9i in here at 76, so it's the third slowest. It's the third slowest based on average memory speed. And that's because of the additional capacity, and then we're running at lower mega transfers compared to other laptops. I don't know, do we have CrystalDiskMark done yet? We do. All right, CrystalDiskMark here. This is way up there. Second fastest SSD we've tested this year. Average being 12,850. And yeah, the Neo 16 had a slightly faster SSD in it. So very fantastic speeds all around. Very nice. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to our next test. We're gonna do Cinebench R24. Now, I have done several Cinebench R24 runs, but we are going to do some basic testing for you, and then I'll pull up all of the data that I've already done, like the 10-minute runs. So I want to do these in interest of like showing you the live performance and cooling capabilities of the laptop. And then I also want to, you know, actually show you the various scenarios and the 10-minute scores are going to be the most reliable metric compared to just running one-off runs. One-off runs just aren't as reliable. Okay, so because one-off runs, you know, they don't thermal throttle as much, and you know, thermal throttling may not affect performance as much. So okay, so we're going to start our Cinebench run here, and we'll reset. Right now we're in turbo mode. I've actually not tested turbo mode. But we can go to extreme performance mode with max fans here in a moment if you want. But you can see we're already thermal throttling basically immediately. We're doing 186 watts of power right out the gate, and throttling down from there. We peaked at 188. 183 now. We're thermal throttling down further and further. The fans are ramping up. We'll let this run for a few minutes, and let me go ahead and zoom in over here on our data, that's so you guys can read this a little bit better. The screen is very reflective. It's kind of a challenge showing it on camera. But yeah, thermal throttling pretty much immediately, which means that it's a good thing. Like that's expected behavior from a laptop that is pushing the maximum possible performance, right? It's pushing the limits of what it can run, and that is what you want in a high performance laptop. Now, you may not want this high of temperatures though, okay? If you don't want this high of temperatures, the trick is going in and reducing the wattage on that CPU to a lower level, say maybe maxing out at 150 watts or something. Another way you can reduce the temperature is by adding a laptop cooler to the underneath side. That way you can increase the wattage or reduce the temperature below thermal throttle and still hit a high level of performance. Our P cores right now are running at 4.6, 4.5, 4.7. E cores are running 4.3, 4.0 for some of the E cores. Some of the E cores are at a higher clock speed. That's interesting that they're stepping at a different speed. The P cores are still doing 4.5, 4.6, 4.7. So P cores are running at a nice clip. I mean, the whole CPU is running at a really nice speed. 175 watts is phenomenal. We're actually rocking 106. We've peaked at 107 degrees. Whew, that is the spiciest that I have ever seen on a laptop CPU, okay? That is extremely spicy. Now, when I was talking to like the different Intel engineers and stuff, they basically told me that, yeah, it's okay. Like it's okay to go above 105. Like 110 still won't even hurt it. Because this silicon's designed to run at really, really high temperatures for long periods of time. That said, I still personally prefer, to run things at a lower level. I like lower temperatures because lower temperatures mean less potential thermal degradation over the long haul. Like if it's just randomly peaking sometimes at like over 100, I'm like, whatever, But if it's constantly running at that, I would rather it be like constantly running at like under 90, like that would be my preferred. And so if I were to say, try to keep this under 90 and get the most performance out of it that I possibly can, I could go in here to custom. This is going to mess up the run. We're not really going to let the run go through anyway. And we could go maximum speed, and then we could say, I want to do maximum CPU temperature of 90. Or let's say, I want to keep it to 89. Okay, so under 90. All right, and now let's see, are we under 90? CPU is now at 88. Okay, bam. We have successfully stopped thermal throttling, but now we're only running at 140 watts of juice going through the system. All right, so that's the downside. You get less performance, not by much, probably only by maybe 5 to 10%, but you get to have consistently good temperatures on your system just by changing that one drawbar right here, this CPU temperature limit in the custom mode. So very easy to target the temperatures you want in your games for the longevity of your laptop with the Legion Space app, which I really like. I do like that. All right, so it's ramping the wattage back up as the temperature is balancing out with the fans and everything. And so now we're going back up to 145 watts. And temperatures are looking good. If we added the laptop cooler, we could probably ramp the temperature or ramp the wattage maybe to 160 or something and still stay below 90. I don't know. Something in that like that, Our actual CPU performance went from 4.6, 4.7 gigahertz on the P cores down to 4.37 on the P cores now. So we only lost 5% of our clock speed by dropping those temperatures down. Okay, so that gives you an idea of the thermals and cooling potential. Let's go to, I'm gonna set this back up to maximum again. And let's go to our actual tested results. I've done a bunch of these runs. So I did Cinebench R24, flat on table versus propped up. Okay, so this is flat on table. And let me see if I can, let's zoom this in a little bit. Flat on table, 232, 132 for the one single core, but that won't really change with flat on table. Then just a multi-score. So 2032, and then propped up with a little Skittles thing underneath the back. You can see we got another 50 or so points out of it, going to 2082 with it being propped up. So increasing the airflow by lifting the laptop up boosted our performance noticeably, measurably. Now, actually looking at flat on table, we averaged 150 watts of power going through the system, flat on the table. And we're hitting maximum thermal throttle. And then propped up, we did 176 watts of power with the thing propped up. So just by propping it up, we increased the wattage on the CPU by 25 watts on average for a 10-minute Cinebench R24 run. So yeah, propping your laptop up is really good sometimes. Very, very simple way to get extra performance out of your laptop that costs nothing. And it helps reduce temperatures or improve performance, one of the two. So those scores, I'm not sure if the Cinebench R24 numbers are in the graphs yet. Probably not. Looks like they're being put in as we speak. So soon they will be. Let's move on to our next test. I believe it's going to be speedometer. Speedometer is a web browser speed test to see how fast your processor can open and close lots and lots and lots of different tabs, basically. Okay, speedometer 3.1, here we go, launch. Hey, could you also please review the Legion Pro 7 9955HX3D? I would love to. I'm probably going to request that laptop from Lenovo next. I don't know if they'll be able to send it to me or not. We got 44.8. That's actually pretty dang good. That's very good. So very, very good for web browsing. No surprise there. Is the Cinebench R24 ready? For the graph for that? Let me know when you can get that data in. Use the propped up score. It should be 2082, I think. Falnier says, which G16 do you think is the most worth it? 4070 for 1600, 5070 for 1900, or 5070 Ti for 2350? 5070 Ti for 2350 is the way to go. I say that because you're probably going to get upgraded results on a bunch of different things. Also, Fafniers, thank you so much for the super chat and the donation. I appreciate it. Yes, thank you very much. Okay, so the 4070 versus a 5070 Ti, like the 5070 Ti is probably 70% more performance. And so actually comparing performance for your dollar here, you're going to get more performance out of that 5070 Ti. And you get 12 gigs of VRAM. And the 5070 Ti probably comes with a faster CPU, faster memory, and a much better display. So you get like a 4 upgrades there. And the 5070 for $1,900, that's a very overpriced 5070, I think. During Black Friday, we saw the 5070 Ti version for less than $1,900, though I think you're talking about a different country. Okay, Cinebench R24. Let me zoom back out again here, and voila. Tilt this, get it to be right, and voila. Okay, now we will do it again. Cinebench R24 10-minute test. XMG Neo 16 with the Intel 275H out tops out this chart because of the water cooler on it. 2243 is very, very good. The Legion 9i with its 175 watts going through the system did 2082. And this is going to be affected on multiple fronts because you're talking about slower RAM speed, as well as not quite as high of power limit as like some of these higher end, like the XMG Neo. Though I think the Raider and Scar and the Legion Pro 7i, all of those scored better. I think the RAM speed there is just affecting that performance a little bit. Not that significantly, but just a little bit, And I mean, this isn't that big a deal. I'm gonna be honest. This is all within 5-10% of each other. And I mean, it means that something's going to render 5 seconds slower or something, So it's really not a big deal. As long as you're like, comparing something like the MacBook Pro or the Zephyrus G14, where you're getting literally double the performance, then you're talking maybe several minutes difference in terms of rendering something. So that's a much bigger decision to factor. Like I wouldn't let this score really affect your decision making too much, but that gives you an idea of the ballpark in terms of levels of performance you're getting. Pumpia says at 2300 you can get a 5080 laptop, though it's not Asus. Yeah, well, I think Fafnir's is probably in another country, and so the pricing is going to be way different from country to country. And so he's looking at the laptops he's specifically targeting in his country that he has access to. So that's just going to vary a lot. Okay. Apex Legends is next. Our goal in Apex Legends is to measure our performance at the shooting range, and then also performance in one of the game modes. Okay? This is not going to be, these multiplayer games where we don't have a good specific benchmark, they're mainly going to be quality testing to be like, okay, does this game have any major problems running on this system? If it does, then we can identify them. If it doesn't, then we'll be like, sweet, this runs great, or this runs terribly, whatever, So, all right. Oh, I could also, really quick, before we get into the game testing, I should probably also give you guys the Spider 5 Elite display test. Let's just give you the display test data for the Legion 9i while we're at it here. So it can also be added to our data sets. I believe I've already done it, yep. And I've done it both in HDR mode and in flat mode. So let's pull up Spider 5 Elite with non-HDR will be first. We got 407 nits, 870 to 1 contrast. So not that great a contrast, but very good nits brightness. Though not as bright as the OLED you get on the Pro 7i, closer to 500. All right, and then okay, and then here is our color gamut test result for the Spider 5 Elite, and you got to add 7%, I'm just going to say 7% onto these test results. So over 100% sRGB, 92% Adobe RGB, and 93% of the P3 color gamut is what we measured using the Spider 5 Elite. And this is in SDR mode, giving us the best possible result that I can get. The HDR mode pulls up at only 252 nits. That's it. And only 600 to 1 contrast. It's really bad. Do not run this laptop in HDR mode. You will be a sad panda. Color gamut also is sliced down to be terrible. Only 83% or say 90% of sRGB, 69% of Adobe, and 69% of the P3 color gamut is really ugly. So don't use HDR mode. It's still broken in Windows. Why? I don't know. One potential thing that points to the brokenness is I got this error that popped up as soon as I changed in HDR mode. X-Rite Color Assistant popped up and said, detected HDR mode operating system enabled. The display device switched to HDR color scheme. Please disable HDR mode if you want to resume SDR X-Rite color calibration. So the X-Rite said that it switched to the HDR color mode, but maybe this is part of the problem too, is that whatever color modes these laptops are running, you know, the color calibration schemes may just not be set correctly when HDR mode is flipped on. So there's our results for the Legion 9i. And I gotta say, in general, this screen is still very, very good. I still love the screen in terms of using it. It's very colorful, very bright, and the glossy nature of it makes the gameplay really good. Okay, firing range first. Is there a way to make it? Well, hopefully it doesn't put me into a match with other people, but let's check our settings here. Video. Oh, and for all the benchmarks today, we will be testing in 4K as well as QHD. Hold on, I gotta readjust this camera so that I can reach the laptop without hitting the camera arm. All right, so, oh, I don't think I increased the FPS above 240. We're gonna need to change that real quick. So, Apex Legends, you always gotta do plus FPS max 300, I think is the command. It's been a while, so let's see if that fixed it, but let me Google it. I'm so glad you've included Dota 2. Nice. Yeah, I actually have probably the most gaming hours in Dota 2 out of any game. I've got like 3,000 something hours in Dota 2. It's kind of ridiculous. It was like my main game I played for like 3 or 4 years. All right, and okay, I think I did the right command. Let's try going back into the firing range again. Let's just drop the resolution. Okay, yeah, we can go above 240 FPS now. So, okay, 4K. So we're gonna test today everything with 4K and with QHD plus, or 4K plus and QHD plus, so that we we want we're going to test everything on low, but honestly, I think you're probably going to be able to run this with everything on max probably and still get really, really, really good FPS. All right, we also got to change. Aim down sight to be right click. Gameplay always sprint on. It's so annoying that they do not change or keep track of the sync all your settings. Like, okay, so it has been a really long time since I played Apex Legends. But let's see what we're gonna get. All right, so 4K. Our goal basically is 240 FPS if we can do it, because that's what the refresh rate on this screen is. Let me turn the sound on just a little bit. Trying to calibrate my aim to this mouse. At the same time here, so we're averaging 230 FPS on low settings at 4K plus. All right, I'm gonna try to actually aim good now. So if we just let it average, I'm just gonna let it sit here and average for a moment. 225 FPS. Let me just make sure I'm standing in the exact same spot as well. 224, I'm gonna reset it. I'm gonna let it run for at least 15 seconds here. Then we get a more accurate 1% low. 225, 152, all right, and going to 2560 by 1600 on low settings. Now we are rocking 300 FPS nonstop and 202 for our 1% lows. So, you know, if you're running low settings in this game, you can really, really, really ramp the FPS like crazy. Is a Gen 5 SSD worth it on laptops or not? That really depends. I mean, are you doing SSD-centric things a lot? Then maybe. It might improve your load times in some games. That'd be about it. I don't know. There's very little things that'll improve. In general, value for your money, I would say a larger Gen 4, like an 8 terabyte Gen 4 instead of springing for like a 2 terabyte Gen 5, that would be a better spent in my view. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and do one of these events. Should we do an unranked trio? Oh, Bots Royale. Ooh, maybe that's a good way to benchmark this game if we can do Bots Royale. Last squad. How can I make this a... Is there a way to make this so I don't have extra? Like autofill is turned off? I don't know. Maybe it's better to actually play against real people. Team Deathmatch. Whatever. It doesn't really matter too much what game mode we play because Apex Legends is constantly changing with every update, with new game modes coming out and everything. I don't set the FOV to 110, I don't think, for my benchmarks. I think I just leave it at the default for 90, but a lot of people do set it to 110. So for in the game, I'm gonna try running around and killing people in QHD Plus for a few deaths and then switch it over to 4K and then see how we do. That's the nice thing about Team Deathmatch is that it will hopefully let us get into a game and get into some combat right away. That's the main thing I'm trying to do, is just get some combat going. Okay, so Team Deathmatch on Estates. Currently rocking 300 FPS. Do you all want me to make this bigger so it's a little easier to see? Right now it's not the biggest it could be. Do you think the 4K native screen has a disadvantage for gaming since it strains the GPU a lot more at 1600p? Or just run the game at 1600p and it'll still look the same? I can tell you that the 1600p version is not as crisp. It's not as crisp as the 4K. The 4K looks crisper on this display. I think it varies depending on what display type technology. IPS tends to down-res to lower resolutions with more softness than things like OLED or mini LED. Those tend to be a little sharper. That said, this still looks pretty dang good. I mean, yeah, but it's not quite as crisp as what a native 1600 would be. All right, let's go with the flatline. All right, we're resetting our benchmark numbers. Ready to die, just jumped out. My shift button is not mapped correctly. There we go, okay. Okay, so we're on 198. We're dead. So we're just maxing the frame rate out right now at 196. We'll go ahead and die a couple more times and doggy. We got a teammate fighting below. Good teammate. We're gonna need to force this fight. Oh. All right, so let's go to 4K Plus now and see how we do. QHD Plus seems to be not hard at all. Okay, 4K Plus, we're actually not reaching the max FPS. I should really use my Pathfinder abilities and see if I can get on top and surprise some people up there. Hello, my friends. What is that? What does this do? Oh, lets me go through the wall? I'm hearing a lot of action going on down here. Okay, well, I'm playing better at 4K. Does that help us? Oh, God. I can't seem to shooting right between both of them. Okay, well, our team is kind of suffering right now. Got any good gun? Oh, thank you for that. Okay, so how many more kills does this match have? Only, okay, a little bit more. We'll let this match finish out. Let me see if I can change to... They don't really have anything that I love. I switched to a charge rifle, but I don't think I'm actually going to stick to that. You're mine. Oh, shotgun me. Okay. I'm gonna try to be the annoying charge rifler over here in the corner, which I was not able to be. Not for very long, at least. Anyway, all right. Let me check out what chat's saying. Do you think the 4K native screen is a disadvantage? Yeah, I do think it is, but it's still, I mean, you saw our performance here. It was still very good. Certainly still playable. Managed to lead my team in damage and kills. But, so there's Apex Legends for you. Let's move on to the next game. Arc Raiders is next, and I'm not sure exactly how we will want to benchmark this. I think we want to do ultra settings, I think, unless the game is super hard to run, but I basically have just done the tutorial in this and then exited the game. I have not even done a single official run yet for Arc Raiders. In competitive games, 4K is nice, but for AAA games on laptops, it's crap. So basically, DLSS is required. Yeah, for the most demanding AAA games, it definitely is required. So, and generally I would probably recommend staying at the 4K resolution and then using upscaling instead of, say, and we're gonna go to turbo mode too because it seemed to be performing better. All right, let's check our settings. Sorry. We do not want a frame rate limit. Do we want to do quality with frame gen at 2x? I think so. I mean, technically, this is kind of a competitive game, so maybe some people are going to run this on low instead of trying to run on high and everything, but... And it's also a competitive game, so maybe they're not going to run frame gen at all on this. Yeah, maybe not. What's up? It's been a long time. Well, welcome back to the live stream. Hi, bud. What's going on, dude? All right. You can't step on the laptop. I'm sorry. You can go behind the laptop and lay down. Well, actually, you can't. I'm gonna need you to not do that, buddy. I'm sorry. Let's go to the damn battlegrounds. And I don't know anything else about what I should bring or anything because I'm brand new to this game. Maybe some more ammo? I don't know. Let's try. Let's try it. So just here in the settings, we're doing 85 FPS, 166, 93. So Arc Raiders, first time testing this game. We'll see how it is. We're on epic settings, 4K DLSS on quality, no frame generation because we do not want to increase our latency in a competitive multiplayer game. So we're not going to test it with frame gen. I was just in from Fortnite streams. Oh, gotcha. Nice. Well, welcome back again. I can see artifacts on the screen. Do we have some dead pixels? No. Okay, those are just crosshairs, I guess. Okay, so we're trying to loot. We gotta watch out for other players. We are currently rocking 99 degrees on our CPU, 93 watts though. And this is a game where people can choose to fight or not fight. You can kind of like be friendly with others, or you can be a dick and, you know, kill everybody that you run into. But it's like a looter shooter. Your goal is to get stuff. We've got a couple looter shooters today for our testing. So one issue with this game for benchmarking is that I don't know how I'm going to do any kind of consistent benchmarking with it. All right, for now, let's just go over here where it's nice. We can see a large area of the map. And let's just sit here. All right. Let's do a little benchmark numbers at 4K. There's a player, or, oh, is that I think that's a robot that may attack me if it sees me. So we might have to kill that thing. Currently doing 88 FPS. Let's drop our resolution down. 25. Can we not do actual QHD plus? Oh my gosh, what is this? Oh, that's just the upscaled resolution. Yay. Okay, there, okay. Nice, all right. Let's just, let's run around a little bit at QHD plus first. No sound on the live stream? Weird. Mike is dead. Really? Mike is back. I didn't change anything. I don't know. Maybe maybe my microphone ran out of juice over here. Maybe Rocky knocked something. I don't know why the mic would have gone out. All right, so QHD Plus rocking 130 FPS, 93 for our 1% low. Let's just pop back up to the full resolution. Well, it's convenient here. And so now we're dropping down to 88 FPS. It definitely looks sharper, noticeably sharper. We're looking out for enemies. CPU's over 100 degrees. Yeah, well, the fans are not even ramped up all the way either. You know, if we went to custom mode again, maybe custom will be all right. Let's see. Custom mode will ramp our fans and maybe give us a little better performance in this CPU-bound game. Well, is it CPU-bound? We're at 98. I don't think we're CPU-bound right now. We're GPU-bound. But the CPU is certainly being super engaged. So I kind of want to shoot this thing. Let's get some action in here. We should be able to loot this, right? Can we not loot the thing that just blew up? I don't understand this game at all yet. Except that you want to loot stuff. And we need to go find better loot stuff. Hey, you can't push on the camera, buddy. You're gonna make it all bouncy for everybody. No. You can lay down. Oh my, he's kicking the mouse too. Face this way, lay down. You can stay right there. Is that okay? Okay, now he's laying down under the camera. Oh, but he kicked the camera. All right. That tumbleweed just scared the crap out of me. Audio is now way behind than the video stream. Okay, nice. All right. One second. Did he get a drink? He'll be fine for a couple hours. Hop out here, buddy. Not gonna be that much longer. Okay, let me reset the audio stream. So hopefully it's not gonna lag anymore. Okay, testing the audio. Is the audio better now? Test, test. Hopefully the audio lines up now. I'm not sure exactly what happened. How is Carla? I think, what's her name? Carla's doing great, but we're not dating anymore. I'm dating someone else now. Will you please try 1080p as well? Interesting. Okay, sure. I mean, I could swap over to 1080p. Well, we'll go to full HD plus 1920 by 1200. DLSS on quality on Epic. Wow, that makes the colors really weird, and now our overlay is really funky. We're going to set this to 800, 600, 400? Okay, 400 does it. Okay, arc raters, 1080p, 165 FPS. What's up, Kilkenny? Yeah, I remember you. 165 FPS, 110 for a 1% low. CPU now is really engaged at 110 watts. So you get even more FPS dropping down to 1080. It still looks pretty dang good. I'm guessing these are really crappy areas to loot where I'm going. Maybe at the top of this hill there'll be something to loot. I don't know. Hasn't been much. Oh, you move faster when you put your gun away. That's good to know. There's a guy or a robot. Oh, we're gonna go back up to 4K because I cannot play with those giant windows in front of me. All right, and I'm just gonna put this back to 1000. Okay. We could test. I mean, we could do. We're messing around here in our creators, getting an idea of performance. So yeah, we can mess around with all the different settings. Right now we're on Epic, so let's try 4K low. We can try all three graphics settings on low. Like, let's say your goal is to get really high FPS, right? All right, low. Static lighting. Let's go to ultra performance. All right, this is basically the equivalent of 1080p in terms of rendering. 180 FPS now. Let's get across this blood swamp. See if we can get into this compound. This compound looks... That tumbleweed just freaked me out again. This compound looks like it would probably be a good place to go. Do we fight them or no? I didn't shoot. He's throwing grenades at me though. Should I shoot him or not? He just threw another grenade at me. Excuse me. I could totally shoot you. Okay, do I have permission to shoot this guy? Because he tried attacking me first. No! He left me! That's funny. We're gonna need some cover. You got anything good? I don't know. What's considered good? A dartboard? Is the dartboard good? Take some ammo. Toilet paper? That's got to be good. A cat bed? We need that. Arc alloy. Air freshener. Adrenaline shot. Okay. All right, we got another gun now. The kettle. So, yeah, I mean, FPS in this game is just super smooth. Oh, we can search this. He's got to find the right thing to search. Arc alloy, simple gun parts. And these tumbleweeds, they're freaking me out. What? System integrity violation, an internal anti-cheat check failed? What? Huh? I have been a blank install. How is that possible? Like, it is like a baseline install fresh from Windows. Huh? Okay, well, you guys got all of the testing we're going to be able to do in ARC today, I think. Let's go ahead and load up Baldur's Gate 3. Your link for the Legion does not work. That's good to know. Let me try to work on that real quick. Let's see here. It just worked for me just now. That'd be weird if it's not working for you. Let me see if it... I don't know. That's pretty weird.
It's not working for you.
Checking. Yeah, it still worked right when I clicked it in the video description, so I don't know. That's pretty weird. What laptop am I using for gaming nowadays? Currently, I'm testing the Zephyrus G16 5070 Ti with the Xbox Ally X and the Zephyrus G. You know, I wonder if it was because of the 3D screen that it flagged me for anti-cheat. I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of for the arc raiders. I really hope my arc raiders account is not banned now. If it is, I probably will, I don't know, refund the game on Steam or something. I don't know, because I literally just like tried it. That was the first match I've ever tried to be in. Okay, so Arc Raiders is not stopping for some reason. We're gonna need to end this task. You know, I did hear like a badunk. Something is badunking on this Legion 9i, and I don't know what it is. It's been happening consistently while the laptop just sits there by itself. And this is not even, this task for Arc Raiders is not stopping no matter what I do right now. I guess we'll have to go for a restart. I don't know. Let's go for a restart. All right, so we got another 20 minutes. Let's see if we can get through a few more games today before we end this live stream. So, am I still into gaming? Of course. I still game a lot. I've been playing God of War Ragnarok lately and Hades 2. For multiplayer games, I haven't been playing too many multiplayer games lately, but the most recent ones I've been playing was a strategy game called Legion TD2. And what other ones? I don't know. I've been playing a lot of single player games lately. Beat Expedition 33, played it through twice. Amazing game. Won Game of the Year, and it's certainly worth playing. Yeah, we went for a restart. Should I see if my Arc Raiders account is now banned or not? I suppose I should check it right now on live before I move to the next game. Do I recommend this laptop to buy? So far, I mean, I really like it. I like it a lot. If you're after a high-performance 18-inch laptop, this one is going to be really, really good. Let's try loading Arc Raiders and see if we're banned now. Is the 3D OLED or 3D effect on the screen on the 9i a better experience than the OLEDs on the 16-inch laptops like the Pro 7i? I mean, you can't use 3D on the 16-inch OLEDs, so I mean, it's not really a comparable experience, but watch my detailed review of the Legion 9i 3D display. I pointed it out at the beginning of the live stream, but it's like one of the recent videos I've made. About 9 days ago, I released it. So far, it doesn't look like I'm banned. Interesting. I don't know. Anyway, so Arc Raiders is one of the games I've been planning to play. I'm glad it appears that I'm not banned. Will Arc Raiders close? Yeah, okay, Arc Raiders closed that time. All right, let's get through testing Baldur's Gate 3, and we'll get into Battlefield 6. Maybe we'll try to get through 4 games, because these next 4 should not take too long. I guess Battlefield 6 might take a while. But I want to give you guys some more gameplay before we end the live stream. So try to get through maybe 4 more games, and then, like I said, we're not going to be able to get through all the games today. This will be a multi-part live stream. So we checked 4K at the lowest DLSS settings, which means it was upscaled from 1280 by 800, and we got 1800. We got 180 FPS, which means it's probably going to be about the same for QHD, you know? So I would expect around that 180 FPS mark. So it gives you the range. Like when you're running everything on low, from a really, really upscaled resolution, 180 FPS with a 5090. Upscaling, DLSS, quality, and ultra preset. All right, so this is a game that is largely Did my save get messed up? Okay, there it is. All right. So we're going to run this twice, Baldur's Gate 3, 4K, and QHD+. Arc Raiders is pretty fun, brought back the PUBG vibes a little bit, but different. Nice. Well, I love PUBG, and so... Yeah, right now the main... we got to load up Afterburner. So right now the main thing is, you know, how you spend your free time is going to be determined largely by how much free time you have, and I've been very busy lately, so just haven't been able to play multiplayer games as much. All right, so we are in custom mode maxed out, 168 FPS, but really, what just happened? We just had another bading, and the game appears to have crashed. What is going on with this? So, as I've mentioned, I don't know if Event Viewer is going to be able to help us here or not. It might be related to my SSD, I don't know. Error, crashing events, live kernel, fault bucket. Watchdog. Faulting package, full name. Application error. Windows cannot access the file for one of the following reasons. There's a problem with the network connection, the disk that's file stored on the storage driver is installed on the computer, or the disk is missing. So I think it's the SSD. My SSD is throwing an error. Crap. So I'm using this, and you can hear the ding. I'm using this external SSD. It's a 4 terabyte from SanDisk. And I've been having a lot of problems trying to install all of the applications on here, so I'm guessing this is the problem here. I'm going to need to try to get a different external SSD. Maybe I'll go down to Fortune Town here in Bangkok and get another SSD. That's really too bad because these are expensive. These were like 300 bucks. 350 bucks? Yeah, they're not cheap. So I'm gonna have to get some other SSD situations set up because I'm pretty sure that's the reason why we crashed, and that's probably also the reason why Arc Raiders freaked out and crashed as well. And I don't want to have to deal with those while we're on the live stream here. Let's see if I reload Steam, is it going to be able to tell me which games are installed on the SSD versus locally? Because I do have some games that are locally installed. So just know that those crashes, I think, are independent of the Legion 9i. Those are caused by my bad SSD here. How old is the drive? It's less than about 6 months old. All right, so we got Black Myth, Wukong, and Arc Raiders was not. Arc Raiders was run on the local SSD, but it still may have crashed because of the drive disconnecting and reconnecting. We could try running Black Myth, Wukong, and maybe Dota 2 before we end the live stream. I don't know. Try to get a couple more tests in at least. Will cloning save it? I don't know. I'm not sure what will save it, but I've heard just a lot of bad things about the 4 terabyte SanDisk drive, and now that I'm having the same problems or similar-ish problems, it's not good. It is not good. So I don't think I can recommend that drive. Waiting for Cyberpunk benchmark? I don't think we have Cyberpunk on the local drive. I don't think. Yeah, Cyberpunk is not on the local drive. So, yeah, and like I said, we're not going to be able to do all the benchmarks today. So you'll have to come back to the next live stream for all of these. I'm going to try to get all these done at some point. It's a process, and I'm trying, like I said, I'm trying to get these, trying to keep these live streams shorter so I can do them more often, you know? Rather than trying to do like a 5-hour live stream, trying to do more like 2-hour live streams and doing like 3 or 4 of them a week. And more consistency, I think that way, I think it'll be better. Okay, so display, 4K. All right, so at 4K plus, DLSS, with frame gen, I think 2x is good. Ray tracing on, cinematic. All right, so now we're gonna have to restart the game. Being a single player AAA game, I think it's very reasonable and realistic to run frame gen. Kilkenny says, you've got the same Lumix camera setup as me, LOL. I almost got that one drive, LOL. What other external SSDs do you recommend? My buddy Darren recommended, I think, a Samsung one. I need to actually look it up. It depends on what's actually available here in Thailand, which is where I'm at now. You will do another stream with this one for all the games like Apex, Wildcard, Battle Royale, which drops the most FPS on drop. So probably done doing Apex, but I do plan on doing all of these games that's in the benchmark list here, but it just won't be this live stream. We're gonna do as many as we can do in the next 10 minutes before we end the live stream, basically. It'll probably be one more game after Black Myth, Wukong, so. All right, so here we are. I wish we could do a game that we can do some comparison with. Maybe God of War would be good, because God of War, we should be able to pull that data into a graph. Do we have Black Myth Wukong for comparison data? Fern? Do we have Black Myth Wukong for comparison data? No? No? Okay. Okay. I think this is the one I want to go to. Wow, only 50 FPS here. That's pretty crazy. Especially considering we do have frame gen here. Cinebench on low. That'd be another good one to do. All right, so, wow. We're not going to be able to do frame gen. $36, 35 FPS. Oh my gosh. No frame gen 4K cinematic with ray tracing is brutal. Crazy. What's DLSS setting at? It should be at quality, right? Oh, we don't even have DLSS at quality. DLSS should be at 66%. All right, now 25 FPS. Oh my gosh. Crazy. All right, don't recommend these settings, but let's just go. Let's run in there and fight the guy real quick.
You challenged me without even letting me have dinner.
Oh. All right, just reset our FPS counter. Oh my.
I am the Black Wind.
It's a slideshow. Oh my. Frame dips down to 2 FPS. Okay, so not recommended. Let's. Okay, all right. So turning off ray tracing, that's probably the best thing we can do here. But dropping our upscaling as well down to 25. That would also be very good. $33 FPS now at a whole lot better upscaling. Wow. All right, so, I mean, if I were to optimize this, I would turn ray tracing off, okay? And then I would probably turn frame generation on to 2x. And now we'll restart the game. See if we can get Black Myth Wukong at least tested properly. Make sure the laptop's at the power level. That's, yeah, maybe right, just cycling through these different modes sometimes can help. But just turning off ray tracing should be huge. What PC do I game on? I'm currently gaming on the Zephyrus G16. Wait, are you in performance mode? I've noticed the wattage isn't even high. That could be the issue too, like what World Influencer Marketing Agency said. Now we're doing our full wattage here, so yeah, like you said, it may be related to the wattage not being high. What were we at? Let me check the live stream. I was too busy. So we're only doing 100 watts and 23 watts. Yeah, the wattage was bugged. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, now look at our freaking performance. 194, 17, 30, 38 for a 1% low. Let's try, I hate to restart again, but I really want to try this with everything maxed out at 66 and frame generation on 2x cinematic. All right, now we have to restart the game again. We do want to make sure we're testing this properly, right? Like it's very important that if the game is running properly, the laptop is running properly. We want it all to be functioning correctly. And yeah, like looking at the live stream results, it was only 90 watts on the 5090. I should have been paying a little closer attention to it. Only 48 degrees on the GPU, which is very crazy. There is an NVIDIA bug with the drivers that sometimes cause the power limits to not be hit. So it looks like we're going to do a lot better. Have a restart button counter. Let's try CS after this one. I don't have Counter-Strike installed. I'm thinking God of War next, just so we can get an actual gaming comparison done before we end the live stream. Yeah, I think custom mode is just messed up. So let's go to just turbo mode. All right. So turbo mode is doing, we're at maximum possible settings, 4K, with DLSS at quality, with frame generation at 2x, cinematic. Very, very difficult to run this game right now. 1% low is going to be about double what it's actually listing.
You challenge me without even letting me have dinner.
Hey, I'm trying to heal, man. Yeah, this is going to be a lot more playable, but with frame gen on, you really want more than 50. So let's try dropping to QHD and seeing what we get with QHD. We should be getting higher FPS. Why are we not getting any higher FPS? Still only about 60. How does any of this make sense? We're GPU bound, we're using 170 watts. We're about to die. The guy was flying at us. Oh, super resolution is now at 99%. So we gotta go. It was basically running at the same resolution, same render resolution as before. That's why. Okay, so now that's actually rendering from a lower render resolution. 98 FPS. A lot better now. Yeah. This guy is really hard to beat. Okay, so 98 FPS, 24 for a 1% low, but if we want to actually know our 1% low, we have to turn on frame view. And let's do F10. All right. Okay, QHD, Black Myth, here we go.
Without even letting me have dinner.
We're gonna let it run for about 30 seconds, and we'll switch to 4K plus here in a moment.
I was ascended
All
to
right.
death by God. Who are you? Stand against me.
Okay, so we got 9864. $98.64 for our QHD benchmark. Let's go to 4K plus. Okay, and it did not, last time I didn't scale the upscaling correctly, so yeah, let's go to 66 now. All right. All right, we're running a benchmark for a little while. Let's go ahead and just dodge around for a moment. Very nice. We got 55.43 for our benchmark result. That's with frame gen on though, so yeah, very difficult to run this game. And as you saw, if you just turn off ray tracing, the FPS is insanely good in this game. Okay, I really want to test God of War before we end the live stream. So let's just jump over there, because I know God of War is a quick, easy one to do. Good morning, Gizmo. I recently got my Acer Predator Helios 16 AI. Is it Neo 16S or Neo 16 AI? How do you like it? Will you do a Legion Pro 7i, 9i undervolt optimization guide? I think that's a great idea. I'd love to. Not the S version, but it somehow performs worse than the other 140 watt 5070 Ti. Seems like it's running on lower voltages. Do you think if I NV flash the 140 watt BIOS from the ROG Strix, will it perform any better? I mean, I would say you should monitor. I don't know which save to use here. Let's try this one. I would say actually pull up the performance monitor like MSI Afterburner and check it. That would be my recommendation. I don't know. I don't know which autosave to use. I messed up the autosave location, I think. Maybe not. Let's just see what the latest one says. Where is this location? Yes, this is the save we need. Okay. Graphics are set to Ultra preset. Display, we're at 4K plus, QHD plus upscaling with DLSS on quality. Very good. Let's get our 4K plus benchmark, then we'll do QHD plus. Performance is looking excellent overall. Our wattage is not hitting 175 watts. CPU is doing 73. Average FPS is still over 100 here at 4K plus resolution.
Not to you, though. I'll keep looking.
109 FPS, 88 for 1% low is exceptionally good. Let's run back and do this again at QHD plus. I just really want to get this, at least this benchmark done here before we end the stream. Okay. So to get this to work, we have to go in here and drop to our actual baseline. Okay, our Windows resolution has to be dropped for God of War to scale properly. All right, so now with the Legion 9i in QHD plus, 136, 116, 140. Interestingly enough, our GPU wattage is only at 150. Interesting. So I wonder, I mean, we shouldn't be CPU bound. We got 143, 116, which is really, really good. Let's open up Canva. And we should be able to just check our God of War. I think you're putting it in right now, right? Okay. And wow, this is going to top the charts by a lot. Okay. So, God of War 143, 116 is an insanely good benchmark. It's the highest we've ever seen, I believe. And yeah, 143 versus 127 from the MSI Raider with the 5080. Very nice. I wonder what the XMG Neo 16 got in this. I don't know. Did we not test that? Maybe we skipped that one. But extremely impressive result. Some chart-topping performance at QHD Plus, at least. We're going to compile all these benchmarks that we've collected today and all the benchmarks in the future here. And we're going to combine it all together into one big comparison for the final review. So this live stream is going to be one of many, probably one of at least 3 live streams for benchmarking and unboxing and testing the Legion 9i. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll have a lot more for you in the near future. And instead, like I said, instead of doing like 6 hours of live streaming all at once, I'm going to try to divide this up into multiple 2-hour live streams approximately. It's more bite-sized for me, less intimidating trying to get everything ready to go for such a long live stream. And even today, we had problems with the SSD. I'm going to have to figure this out. Maybe install a batch of games on the local SSD and then test those and then delete them and then reinstall a different set of games on the SSD. I don't know. We'll figure it out, but we'll get all these games tested. Lots of games coming up. Be sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss out on the final review, as well as all of the games that we'll be testing. So let me just check chat one more time before we end the live stream. Glad to wait for an undervolt guide for Gen 10. I mean, I really should. Legions are definitely shunt modded. Even on Jared's testing, they're mostly on the top results for both the Pro 7i and 9i. I think it's extremely likely that they have some kind of shunt mod, in the sense that they're using more than 175 watts when in GPU bound scenarios. Because it's really, when you look at the GPU boost clock, you're like, the boost clock is like higher than this other laptop that is running at 175 watts. And you, like, I've confirmed, I know for a fact that this company is not shunt modding their laptop. They're running 100% at 175 watts. And the boost clock's like 150 less or 200 less or something, you know? So it's a pretty significant performance difference. Yeah. Yeah, Chill Malem says, we have an undervolt guide for the Gen 10 on the Legion Discord, but it's not really worth it for the Arrow Lake, in my opinion. Yeah, I believe they tuned the Arrow Lake to have very little margin, like less than 5% margin from undervolting. But I think overall still an optimization guide on like how to set the fans up, what's the cooling like, how can you optimize your custom mode to be the way you really want it to be for what you want. Do you want quiet fans? Do you want loud fans? Do you want maximum performance, medium performance, all that stuff? You know, and what stuff's actually working? Because today we've seen the custom mode actually fail on us to apply the GPU and CPU wattage correctly, both in TimeSpy and in Black Myth Wukong. Switching over to turbo mode fixed that. Like the performance mode fixed it, we got 100% performance. But without that, in custom mode, we were only getting like 100 watts on the GPU and 20 watts on the CPU. So maybe we need to tweak the custom mode settings. Maybe some of the cross-load settings or something there is causing it to be messed up. But that's where doing a more detailed optimization guide can help, you know, advanced users figure out like the best settings for your laptop. And maybe in this scenario, Lenovo needs to tweak their software. Maybe it's messed up. And that's what we're discovering, that software is broken right now and it needs some fixing. I don't know. Hard to say yet. More testing required. But yeah, gonna have to run for now. More live streams coming soon. Peace out. Bye-bye. Melissa Goat, can you show a way to increase the power from 170 to 180 to 200? There's nothing you can do on the Legion laptops. That's called shunt modding. And they've basically prevented it from happening on these motherboards. I believe because they're doing it themselves already. But older motherboards for previous gen, you could basically replace one of the voltage resistors to make it so that more voltage goes to the GPU. That's how you would do it in the past. But it really depends on laptop by laptop whether it's possible to do in the current generation. So yeah, anyway, that's the short answer. There's obviously a lot longer answer. Check out my shunt modding video for a little bit more detailed explanation. And yeah, but yeah. Okay, all right, bye-bye. We'll see you in the next one soon. I'm not gonna try to take these too long in between the live streams, maybe either tomorrow or the next day.